You're listening to the Balanced Educator Podcast, episode number 91. Welcome to the Balanced Educator. We're your hosts, Kaylee
and Josiane from EduCalm. Our intention is to equip and empower you to feel more calm, balanced, and joyful in all aspects of your life.
Hello there and welcome. Thank you for spending this time with us here today. We are so excited to share this episode because we are tackling a problem that I think is universal, and that is, what am I going to eat for supper? When life gets busy, especially when we are feeling busy at work, sometimes we get home and it just feels like this huge mountain to climb to make ourselves a healthy meal that's going to make us feel good and give us the energy we need to continue doing our best. So we've invited Shawna Lapointe onto the show to share about meal planning so that you can start making meal times more easy, stress-free, and fun. Before we jump into this interview, we'd love to share today's sponsor, which is Free Label. We love Free Label. They're a conscious clothing brand. They make beautiful, timeless basics that are so versatile. Everything is made in Canada by happy hands. So not only do you feel good and comfortable in the clothes because the clothes feel good to wear, but it feels good in your heart as well because you're supporting a Canadian business that is doing things right for both the environment and the workers creating the clothes. Go check out Free Label at educalm.com/free label. That's educalme.com/free label. All right, I am excited to introduce Shawna Lapointe. She is the face behind TooBusyLivin.com, a passion project dedicated to helping busy families manage mealtime effectively. She's a mother of 4 children under the age of 6 and a full-time high school teacher. Her experience as a stay-at-home mom and a working mom has led her to develop various meal planning and prepping habits and strategies that have helped simplify her life by freeing up time to spend with her family and pursue personal interests. Instead of sharing a glamorized, Insta-worthy version of life on her blog and Instagram account, she gives parents real-world survival tips designed to make life easier. Welcome, Shawna. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
So we're so excited to have you on because one thing that is so hard to manage is eating well and eating healthy without it feeling stressful when you are a busy teacher and you've got a lot on your plate. Sometimes your own self-care in terms of nourishment falls by the wayside. Now, you share something on your Instagram that we absolutely love. You give us so many good ideas, and we wanted to have you on the show to share it with our listeners because we think they're going to appreciate it too. So could you just introduce yourself to our audience and let them know a little bit about you?
Yeah, of course. I'm Shawna. I am a full-time teacher. I teach high school. My partner is also a teacher, so all those busy teacher times of year are multiplied by 2 for us. And of course, I'm a mom of 4 kids under 6. So teacher life and home life is very hectic for us over here. And like you said, finding time to eat healthy and make healthy food is a priority for us, but you definitely need some strategies to manage that.
Yeah. So can you give us some strategies? Where can we start?
For myself, I always spend just a little bit of time on the weekend just thinking about what we're going to eat for the following week. So just making a list, and I don't like to over plan, so I only plan our dinners. And for lunches, we take leftovers. For breakfast, we're eating simple things like cereal and yogurt and fruit. And just so that nothing's too scheduled, so you're not confined to sticking to a plan. but just having an idea of what we're eating for the next week is super helpful. And it really doesn't take more than 5-10 minutes to think of 5 meals you're going to have. So when we do that, sometimes we don't even stick to the plan. Things come up during the week, you have supervision or you have a meeting that comes up last minute and it goes out the window. But another thing that I like to do is just make sure that I have some food in my freezer or in my pantry that's well stocked so that I can throw together something last minute if something like that happens, if we don't stick to the plan.
That's great. I love how on your Instagram account, you will often say like, this was what we had planned to do today, but then something came up. So this is what we're doing instead. And I feel like when you share those things, it makes me go like, okay, yeah, it's okay to not stick to a plan. So when you are meal planning for the week, what does that look like? Do you, search through recipes or where do you get your ideas of what to eat throughout the week?
Well, one of my strategies, I guess, I just keep a list in my phone, in my notepad in my phone of things that we like to eat, things that everyone likes. And just keeping a list kind of helps me from making sure that we don't eat the same thing all the time. So if I know that we've had something recently, then I'll just skip it and move on to something else. But as far as like inspiration for recipe goes, like I'll always put on Saturdays, ask people what they're making. So just asking other people what they're eating. And like if you have a favorite meal at a restaurant, you can try to make that, or Pinterest. Like there's no shortage of recipes. It's more like thinking about what your family likes to eat, really.
Perfect. So then once you've chosen your 5 recipes for the week, what's the next step?
The next step is like looking around the house and seeing what we already have to make those meals. And usually that's kind of where I start before I even decide what we're going to eat. I'm going to go look in the freezer and see what we have laying around, what's in the fridge that needs to be finished up. And then I start there. So I guess once I've decided, we'll just make our grocery list as we go in conjunction with finding the food we have in the house.
Nice. So then do you do your grocery shopping kind of right after you've made that list, like on the weekend rather than during the week? Do you kind of have a schedule for when you do your grocery shopping?
Kind of. I only online grocery shop.
Nice.
So I don't ever go to the store. So what I do is I plan a day in the week when I'm going to be able to stop on my way home from work and pick up the grocery order. And I just have an ongoing order going in my phone. So if we run out of something during the week, I can just add it. And then when I'm ready to pick it up, I just send it in and it's done. That's like an hour of my free time saved right there.
That is so efficient. I love that you plan it so that you can just pick it up on your way home. It isn't even an extra trip. That's so smart.
It's really an amazing service. Like, I think that more people should do it. And people are reluctant because they think that the produce isn't going to be good, but I've never, ever had a problem.
That's so awesome. And I bet you must save a lot of money too, because you're sticking to just the ingredients you need for your recipes. And then like for myself, when I stop at the grocery store on the way home from work, I'm hungry and I end up buying things that was not on the list.
Yeah, absolutely. And like when you're doing the order on your phone, you have a running total, so you can see exactly how much you're spending. So if you want to really stick to your budget, you can kind of weigh out like, do we really need this? Can we wait till next week? And it's super efficient.
That's so great. So you've set your meals for the week, you've looked at the recipes, and then you've done your grocery shop. What's the next step?
So when I bring the groceries home, I'm thinking of like, what can I do right now to get ready for the week? So usually that's like chopping vegetables. We take raw veggies in our lunches every day. So I'm cutting those up and portioning them in containers so that we can just grab them out of the fridge in the morning and we're not spending time making lunches. And I mean, sometimes it takes a half hour, sometimes it takes 10 minutes. But the important part is just to take the time that you have and do what you can. And then next time you have a pocket of time to spend on it, then do a little bit more.
That's so great.
So mostly veggies. And then if we buy like, say, large cuts of meat or large packages of meat, then I'll either cook it or I'll portion it and stick it in the freezer so it's ready to go.
That's awesome. So I've seen on your account, you often will do meals that are like really low prep time. Do you have any examples that you could share of meals that you really are kind of your go-tos because they don't take a lot of time?
Yeah, I mean, during the week, I like to avoid meals that require me standing at the stove, cooking hands-on. So I'm going to use my slow cooker. I'm going to use the oven. I'm going to do like a big salad that I don't have to cook at all. Things like that, so that when we get home, we can just do other things. Like my school-age daughter comes home with me before everyone else gets home. So that gives us a little bit of time to like do her reading and do her homework and empty out our lunches just before all the chaos arrives.
Yeah. So low prep, going for crock pot meals, things that can go in the oven, things that like you can get it started and then do reading with your daughter. And then like it's ready once you're done that homework time together, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. What would be one example of a crock pot meal that's one of your go-tos?
Well, like I love doing soups and chilies. Like soups are so easy and you can just get it ready in the morning and it's ready when you come home. So usually if we have to stay late for like a meeting or something, I'll do something like that so that we can just eat when we get home if it's already late. So like last week I made like a red pepper soup and basically all it was canned tomatoes, a jar of roasted red peppers, an onion and garlic and coconut milk. So basically just everything, it's all in a can, but it still tastes super fresh.
Yeah.
Because it's all like fresh veggies.
That's amazing. So would you do that? Would you like put all those things into the crock pot the night before or the morning of?
It depends. Like if I know the morning's going to be hectic, then I'll just do it the night before.
Yeah.
And depending if I have room in the fridge to put the crock pot in there, but usually either or, evening or morning.
That's
whatever
great.
Works at the time.
That's awesome. What about some snack ideas? So do you do like after school snacks before supper with your kids? Or I know like when I get home, I'm always hungry right away. I want a snack before I make supper. Is that something that you guys do? Or do you just time your supper so that you don't have to worry about kind of that in between hunger?
Yeah, again, it depends on like what the evening activities are. If we have to head out somewhere, then maybe we'll have supper right away. Like sometimes we'll eat at 4:30 if the evening's busy. But usually, yeah, they'll have a little bit of a snack. Like they'll have fruit or veggies or just like a granola bar, anything that is just quick and already done. Like we're not making snacks. So we usually keep the snacks pretty simple, like cheese and crackers or yogurt and fruit, muffins, things like that.
Nice. That's really helpful. Now, walk me through, I'm just imagining what this might look like for preparing lunches for 6 people. What's your process for that?
Well, right now there's only 3 of us taking lunches because the 3 younger kids go to daycare and lunch is provided, which is amazing. So usually like when we get home from school, we'll empty out our lunch kits. And I'm already just putting new things in the lunch for the next day. So anything that doesn't go in the fridge is going in the lunch kit right away. So it's just basically a swap out, like your empty containers for something that's already full, like crackers or applesauce, things like that.
That's so smart. Then that's even less dishes too, instead of like just throwing all the dishes. That's so smart. I never would have thought of that. That must just like, and then it's almost, you're doing it all at once. So instead of emptying it at one point and then filling it later, it's like all one activity. That's really smart.
Yeah, exactly. And like, as far as like lunches go for my partner and I, we will take leftovers from supper. Or I'll just make like a big quinoa salad at the beginning of the week and take that. We really just keep it simple on the lunches. Mm-hmm. And we're not really going out of our way to make something to plan extra food for lunches.
Right. I'm a big leftovers fan. So
yeah,
I like to go the leftovers. That's awesome. So we've walked through how this sort of planning process works. We've walked through what it looks like to make lunches. Do you have any suggestions for meal planning resources? Like, if I want to get into meal planning and I need, some easy recipes that are all laid out for me or anything like that, where would you point people towards if they're just starting in this meal planning idea?
Well, surprisingly, just look to your own family. Ask your family what they like to eat. And usually, obviously there's 6 of us, but I can just ask everyone, say, what do you want to eat this week? And then everyone has an idea already of what they'd like. So that's step 1, I'd say. But also, one thing I do a lot is I'll see what we have in the fridge, say, okay, chicken breast. Then I'll just go on Pinterest, type chicken breast, and see what comes up and see if there's something new that I want to try. Or just ask around, ask your friends what they're having for dinner.
That's really helpful. It gives us a starting point of where to get those initial ideas. And also, you have a website, so I'm sure that can be a place for people to go for inspiration as well. And I get a lot of inspiration from your Instagram account. So where can people find you online?
I post some recipes on the blog. It takes me a lot more time to do the blog posts. So I'm more posting stuff on Instagram because it's quick, it's fast, and that's where I can spend a lot of time. So, I'm always sharing my weekly meal plan on Instagram, and the handle is toobusylivin204, and then toobusylivin.com.
So if people are wondering if meal planning is right for them, how would you say that it can be helpful? How has meal planning been helpful for your family?
It's just been really helpful in just reducing our overall stress. Meal planning is something you 100% have control over. So why not just have a bit of a plan? And if you don't stick to it, it's not a big deal. But it's good to just not go in blind.
Yeah, I hate getting home from work and then going, okay, what are we going to have for supper? And then you're so tired and you're hungry and you're trying to figure out what you should eat. So having that pre-plan must just really reduce that stress and that annoying conversation.
Yeah, and exactly. And sometimes you get home and you don't feel like eating spaghetti if you planned spaghetti. And that's okay. You probably know what you feel like. So just make that.
Yeah.
And it's just not a big deal. Just being flexible is super important. And that's all part of it. Just being flexible and adaptable and just knowing, trusting yourself and knowing what you're feeling at the time.
That's great. It reminds me a lot of teaching. You go in with a lesson plan, but then you adapt for what's in front of you. When you start with a plan, you know where you want to go. But if you have to get creative and adjust during the lesson, you do that. And it sounds like it's really the same sort of premise with meal planning. You've got your plan, but you shift if necessary.
Yeah, exactly. If you can lesson plan, you can meal plan.
Yeah.
It's really, it is the same thing. You need a plan B, and you need to be inclusive of what your family wants to eat to make sure that everyone's happy and you're meeting everyone's needs, right?
So great. Love it. Well, Shawna, I really, really appreciate what you've shared today. I think our listeners are going to walk away with a lot of helpful tips that's going to make them feel less stressed when they get home from work after a long day. Again, can you remind us where we can connect with you?
My Instagram is at toobusylivin204. The blog is toobusylivin.com, and you can email me at info@toobusylivin.com.
That's so great. Thank you so much, Shawna.
You're welcome.
All right. You can find links to Shawna's website, her Instagram handle, and everything we talked about today on our blog. So if you go to educalm.com/TBE091, you can find information on this episode and also a guest blog post that Shawna kindly wrote for you guys. So again, that's educalm.com/TBE091. TBE, as in the Balanced Educator, 091. All right, your exit ticket for today is to try out meal planning. Even if it is just for a couple days out of your week, try thinking ahead of time of what meals you'd like to make for supper, getting the ingredients that you need for those meals, and notice if that helps you to reduce some of your work-life balance stress. Let us know how it goes. Connect with us on Instagram at EduCalm, and definitely connect with Shawna as well and let her know if something that she shared today was helpful for you at Too Busy Livin' 204. All right. Thank you so much for spending your time with us here today. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone that you think will enjoy it too. Have a wonderful week.